Frank, very good to have you here. Thank you for your time, for being in our headquarters. Welcome to Band News TV, to Band, Grupo Bandeirantes de Comunicação, and of course to our country. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so nice being here. And to tell you a little secret, I love this country, I love these people.
Yeah. It's important to say that Brazil is one big country, and the world has a lot of big countries too, but it's a special one, right?
It's a very special one, and of course Brazil is a continent.
Yeah.
You know, if you think about, the north and the south are so different. You got the Amazonas, you got São Paulo, this wonderful city. And we at Horaris are very glad to come here with our Horaris global meeting in October. I think it was the right choice, and we are excited.
Yeah. Many things to talk about, many questions to ask. So first and foremost, I'd like to ask you about the principles, the philosophy of Horaris to tackle the challenges of our world, but before this, to unify this in certain way the world, putting the things together, putting countries, leaders, and other things alike together, so this coalition could tackle these challenges. But many people say nowadays that that's a big task. No, it's complicated. So do you think that this is exactly the first challenge to unify, to make this coalition in collaborative space, so that after you can tackle the other challenges?
You use a very important word, coalition and collaboration. I think that's exactly what we need. When we founded Horaris some 20 years ago, it's our 20th birthday, we thought that at the time already there's so many challenges. We have economic imbalances, we have climate change, we have even geopolitical tensions and wars. And we feel there's a need to come together and to talk together. Dialogue is really the most important thing if we have differences in this world, and to come up with solutions. Horaris means vision, and a long-term vision, and we would like to gaze into the future, trying to find solutions, very much around scenario planning, trying to find best-case scenario. And the real mission is to inspire the future, and to say that, it's one planet we are living on. Why not uniting, and why not coming together? And we invite leading business people, but also, of course, politicians, governments, head of states in São Paulo. The governor of São Paulo invited us. But also we have social activists, the academic world, and the media. So we very much believe in a multi-stakeholder approach, where everybody has a say, there's no division, and diversity is really key to solve the issues of this world.
Yeah, that's important. And there are a lot of challenges, social, economy, environment, demography, and others that we can cite here for the rest of the day. But can you point the exact, the most important one, the most concerning challenge that we have in our world?
I think the most important challenge is really the root cause. It's trust, or in this case, mistrust. People don't trust anymore each other, and want to take away, what the other has. Think about, protectionism, which is coming up this year, and it's not only coming from Washington, D.C., but from many other countries, protecting what you have and not to share anymore. I think we should give up this tit-for-tat mentality and go more for a win-win scenario where everybody can benefit, and, to overcome the divisions, and to try, to share the beauty of Mother Earth.
Yeah, and when you say that everybody should benefit from this, we are talking about us, but also, of course, the other generations that are to come, And when we talk about challenges, we often talk about experienced leaders, big companies, but what about young generations? Do you think that they really can play a role, important role right now?
Of course, we invite participants, business leaders from all walks of life, from all industries, from all countries. We've actually around 47 nations confirmed for the upcoming summit. And then we have a lot of young people. It's a very special focus, young entrepreneurs, startups, So during my stay, I met actually a lot of young entrepreneurs, aged 25, 30, young change makers who want to make a contribution to these challenges or overcome the challenges in this world. There will be a special session on Gen Z and their thinking and their philosophies. But we're also inviting more senior leaders to this panel. We want to mix. We always try to not to confront, but to show different alternatives and try to maybe harness then the commonalities of everybody. So yes, we very much believe in youth, also gender equality, with more than 40% female speakers, which is much higher than in any other event. But we want to reach 50%. We are still not satisfied.
It's important also, we talked a little bit about Brazil, a special place, an important one. It's one of the biggest countries in the world, both talking about geographic, but also about population, demography. How big is our role to play right now in this crisis, all of them?
So first of all, there is a crisis. We should not acknowledge that everything is going right. Think about the tariffs, think about the climate crisis. Of course, Brazil is playing a very important role in Belém this year at COP and trying to bring, again, the main players together to talk about the future of climate and how to protect the environment. So Brazil has a very important role to play because on the one hand, you are part of the global south. On the other side, you are very developed. São Paulo is like New York or London. You have great companies here. So I would say Brazil's role is to mediate in between extreme positions to find the middle way. Even when it comes to geopolitics, I think it's very good not to be part of one of the blocs, but to be independent and first and foremost to be friends with everybody. And I think Brazil always did it in its history, right? To be the country which is able to mediate and to come up with solutions. At our summit, we're not only talking about climate, but also about the impact of technology. I see that Brazil will play a very important role in AI and in fintech. So, for example, in payment solutions, Brazilian companies take the lead, non-bank banks like Nubank and others, and sharing this knowledge with the world. So I think Brazil and São Paulo in particular is a hub where things happen, where you inspire the future, where you shape the future.
Yeah, exactly. And this year and last year, Brazil was a big part of Horaris in a certain way because the global meeting happened here in Vitória last year and right now in São Paulo in October. Why São Paulo exactly?
So we want to stay for a long time, of course, if we are invited. It's not like a one-off. We have a strong commitment to this country. So we started last year. We moved to São Paulo yesterday with a very good meeting with the governor, Governor Tarcísio, and he invited us to be part of the whole São Paulo ecosystem, to meet the players and to be here, and not just like in October, but in between, and to jointly also look into the role São Paulo can play as a hub for business, and these are the words of the governor, also to be a center of global dialogue. Can spill out your ideas and share with others, and try to find a better way to live and to finally to improve the state of the world.
Yeah, 3 days of summit, right?
Yeah.
From 7th to 10th of October. What exactly can we expect? Like in how many people are going to attend? How many authorities? Do you have any numbers about it?
So the event is going to be held at the Transamerica Congress Center, a great location, and able to invite a lot of speakers and many different panels. So we'll have up to 15 panels in parallel, and we've already 800 speakers confirmed, quite a big number, because our approach is that everybody we invite is a VIP, a change maker, a history maker, if you wish, and they all have like a very special background, a legacy, a narrative, and everybody is part of a panel. So from morning to night, people debate and in reinventing the world, if you wish, maybe even disrupting the world. And we have people from close to 50 countries attending. even from smaller places in Africa, Asia, of course the Middle East, Europe and North America, Brazil obviously, or the host country, but also many of your Latin American neighbors. And so, yeah, during the 2.5 days of intensive discussion, we will come up with solutions. So far, we have a number of politicians confirmed, even former head of states, ministers, but also, of course, business people. We have a very, interesting entrepreneur, a billionaire entrepreneur from Saudi Arabia, for example. We got the CEO of one of the largest banks from Mexico. Actually, just yesterday, the founder of Wikipedia confirmed. So we're not only inviting, let's say, very big multinationals, but individuals like Chibi Wales, the founder of Wikipedia. So, yeah, and we're looking for more talent, more interesting people. Now also here in Brazil, even beyond the business people, to look into the cultural sector, to invite artists, philosophers, even musicians, not necessarily to sing, this could also be part of it, but to share their ideas and to share the knowledge. So again, multi-stakeholder approach, where everybody can contribute, and not just to make it interesting, but to create an impact.
Yeah, that's important, really important. We talked here about many challenges that we have, many issues that we have to deal with in the world for the near term, mid-term, longer term. In this meeting in São Paulo, which are the key points that we should focus on?
So the overall theme of the summit is harnessing the power of cooperation. It's all about collaboration in R&D, for example, in development, collaboration in foreign affairs, collaboration in combating a potential upcoming economic crisis, where central banks can collaborate, and a strong focus on technology. I mentioned already AI, blockchain, fintech, and so on, and a number of sessions on how technology can serve human mankind, so AI for good. And we'll debate, of course, also the ethical dimension of AI, and to see that, in a role also the future of work. Because with AI, of course, we all have to be on our LLMs, the large language models, industrial AI, machine learning, and so on. But the question, of course, is what is happening to us as a human species if suddenly maybe many professions are obsolete and AI is taking over. I talked to a friend of mine recently, and she's actually an entrepreneur, a founder in the Silicon Valley. And she said basically she fired herself. And the first CEO, who is actually an AI agent, is running this company. So AI is doing everything, and you don't need a CEO anymore. But think about what it means for let's say a country like Brazil in terms of employment, and how people would make their life if everything is done by AI. Maybe we're all just on the beach and enjoy our life, but somebody still has to do the work, right?
Yeah.
So we have long debates on the future of work, on the ethical dimension. For example, in digital health, if AI decides on everything, but if it comes to decision like death and life, I think humans should still be involved, right, to take final decisions, important decisions. I'm personally an optimist. I believe that technology is always there to serve human mankind. It's not there to control us. And I believe most of participants coming to the Horaris Summit got the same mindset.
Yeah, and talking about AI, it's not only a future, but a present, right? That is established and establishing even more by the time. I'd like to talk also about Vitória, Espírito Santo. We talked right here about the meeting that happened last year.
Yeah.
What were exactly the results of Vitória, and what were learned? So in São Paulo this year, you can do even better.
Right. People come maybe for 3 reasons to our summit. First of all, it's business. So you go and you see opportunities, and there have been many opportunities in Espírito Santo. I think many more even here in São Paulo, because you're the industrial powerhouse. But there have been investments, there have been projects like in infrastructure, in energy. The state there is very much focusing on ESG as well. Participants come for a second reason, is knowledge. So it's like a big lab for ideas. And here, last year, the first experience in Brazil, it went very well. A lot of the ideas floating around. We created a white paper. You can check it out. About like recommendations on the future, which is going to be used by this particular government, but also by other governments. So it's a blueprint for the future. A third reason why people come is more like socializing, maybe even tourism, and because Victoria is not very well visited, right? It's not on the beaten track, but a very beautiful city. I think it might help to boost even tourism.
Yeah, that's it. It's a big year also, not only because of this meeting in São Paulo, but for Horaris globally saying, because 20 years ago you founded, right?
Absolutely.
2005,
yeah.
You founded Horaris. What changed since then?
So, just 20 years ago, so 2015, the world was different, for sure. And it was maybe less kind of stressful when you look into the news, because nowadays, right, the news every day. And you say, okay, what's happening today? Like stock exchanges are very volatile, up and down. 20 years ago, it was much more stable. So there was the economic crisis in 2008, then everything kind of stabilized. There was a lot of, positive or positivistic view on the future. Now, and we talked about young people are afraid of the future. That's like a big thing, right? And we don't really know where the world is going. We invited actually a number of futurists to this particular summit, so we'll see how's the world going to look like in 20 years' time. So when Horaris will be 40 years old. And we've even a session on science fiction to say, imagine you are in a science fiction movie, right? What kind of new technologies come up? But there's also a session on utopia. And usually we look not so much into the past, but into the future. And to see, how could human mankind live in peace with nature, but also in peace with your neighbor. And I think that's really my own personal ambition, to create visions which can help us to achieve this utopia.
Yeah, and what are the plans for the near future for Horaris?
So there are a lot of plans. First of all, I think we would like to stay in Brazil. It's wonderful to be here, and I see São Paulo, as I mentioned, as the new hub for the global south. And even linking the south to the north. So not to be here like as a one-off, but to do many different and many new versions, editions of Horaris here in São Paulo. And of course, every year to make it bigger, more impactful, more all-encompassing. Secondly, I would say Horaris is going to start different projects and initiatives together here with the government. So, for example, on AI, as we talked, and say, how can our participants join the politicians here of making São Paulo like the city, the state leading in AI globally. That's a very concrete plan we are having. And thirdly, I think in a way to create also a place where people feel in peace, to come here every year and to say it's like part of your annual calendar to be in São Paulo with Horaris.
Yeah. Frank, thank you again for this conversation, this chat, and for a couple of minutes. But of course, there are lots of discussions to have this year, the other ones, and feel free to come back. Thank you very much. Again, welcome to Brazil, welcome to
Thank you so much. Wonderful discussion, and hope you will join us in October.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.